Hey guys, good morning. I just want to show you a couple things about one of my favorite little sanders. I'm going to kick these lights on. Maybe they'll make it where you can see a little better. Hopefully I didn't bump the mic too hard there. It is the RTS 400 EQ right there, and you can see mine is used. I've got it connected to my Festool MIDI vac down here with it on automatic. So when I do turn this on, there will be some noise. There's a couple of things I've learned with this. Originally when I got it, the only way I really used it was with my sandpaper directly on the Velcro of the unit. Since then, in the last year or so, I learned about these interface pads. If you can see, if you rip my paper off, there's a pad here. And on one side it has a real soft fabric. And on the other side it has another hook and loop. The issue with these sanders with the corners is your tendency to press in on a corner, okay? So when you do that, you burn off or melt the little Velcro deals. Now, this pad can be replaced, but it's expensive, okay? You're talking anywhere, I hate to say a price, but it's pricey compared to the alternative. If you buy these, they come in a 2-pack, I believe. And if you burn the Velcro off of this little thing, you can rip it off and put another one on and move on. And they're just, a few dollars each. So then your sandpaper will stick directly to the interface pad. The only time when you wouldn't want to do this, you see, it adds a little more softness to your sanding too. So you can almost use a slightly more aggressive grit, even though, you may not need to. But you can see I was getting close to having to replace this pad again because of the damage from helpers usually, just bearing down on a corner because, hey, why not? It works really fast all of a sudden, so woohoo, right? Well, just thought I'd show you just for a second. I'm stripping these cabinets, taking all the stain off the face frames and the boxes and everything. And I want to show you how quick it does work. I started on this right here and thought, it's a good chance to shoot it on a video for you. But one of my favorite little sanders from Festool, I haven't needed the Delta version of this, the DTS 400, because my RO90 has such a nice Delta as well as the shutter louver sander piece attachment for it, that's really all you need. It's an awesome sander. So I went with that for my Delta pad and this RTS for these. For sanding cabinets and stripping cabinets, this is a fantastic little sander. Not very expensive. I actually bought this one on the Recon, and you can see it had this little area right here and this little area right here that were damaged when I got it, but otherwise it's been a perfectly well operating sander. And this one literally is used every single day on my job sites. If I'm touching up a door fitment, if I'm doing a cabinet, any of this kind of stuff is what I use it for. And let's go ahead and show you just real fast how this works. Not going to be able to wear my Bluetooth hearing protection because it'll probably kick off the audio on the video, so I'll tough it for a minute. Here you go. There we go. You see there? Nice, smooth, ready for paint. These are going to be painted white. Obviously, that's kind of the end thing now, white or a light gray kitchen cabinet. But very, very quick. I can do this entire kitchen. Let me see. I'm going to move this, so sorry about the bumping. You can see all these face frames on the uppers are almost complete. And some of them were even black paint over here. You see that? So they had painted about half the kitchen black, as well as some of the lowers black as well. So it takes a little more stripping the paint. You go through a few more pads. But if you do start with a more aggressive pad, like I was saying on this, an 80 grit with an interface pad is I'm sure the scratches are similar to without the interface pad, but you can strip this a lot quicker with less deep gouges with an 80 grit pad and the interface than you can with a 120 directly onto the base of the sander. 100 is nice also, but I like to see progress, and the 80 grit granite paper is what we're running there. Eats paint without gumming up so quick. If you've seen what I'm talking about there, here's a couple of pads. And this, at this point, you know, you can spend some time and pick this all loose, but you've taken the sharpness off the pad anyway, so you might as well pitch it. But so far, I've done this much, and I've pulled 2 pads off. Now these are still completely usable, but you'd want to use them more after you've taken the bulk off and finish with your beginner pads, because you know, you want this to get moving and get the majority off so you get the gumming up out of the way. Turn your suction up on your vac real good, and it keeps the pad cooler so you're not melting paint so much. With the interface pad, it doesn't suck as tight to the wood either, so you don't get as much heat with all that setup working together. But anyway, that's just a few tips for me for what I've found with the RTS 400. I've been running that sander for, I think, 4 years now, and it's still going, hasn't been in for any work. I'll blow it out with an air hose every once in a while and just keep it trucking. But I don't even know how many kitchens that same sander has stripped, but it has to be north of 50 kitchens that have been stripped, and a lot of them much bigger than this. So I do the doors with it. I do every flat surface with it, because the slight linear orbital action is very nice with this. You will get a little bit of swirl marks with your 80s, especially once you start gumming up the pad. But at that point, pull the pad, put another pad on, and go again. And the first sanding is not that big a deal anyway. The 120 I'm going to follow with this up with goes very quick, takes everything else off, and leaves you a beautiful finish. The 80 is even quite nice, but you go over it with the 120, and then you can start painting and, of course, sanding between coats of paint real quick with a 220 or so, just to deburr the paint, and you end up with a pretty much flawless finish, especially adding Floetrol with Sherwin-Williams Emerald. It comes out very nice. Anyway, one of my favorite sanders, one of my favorite vacuums connected to it, and a few tips there on what I've found useful with it. But thank y'all for being here. Don't forget to subscribe and put a comment down below with any tips you've got with this sander. Have you enjoyed a similar one? If you got the DTS also, let me know what you think of it. And I appreciate y'all being here. Thanks a lot. Bye.